You can save the values of the input and output fields in the SAP memory using a parameter ID. These values are user session and terminal session specific, but are available to all internal and external sessions. The set parameter copies the input and output field contents into the SAP memory in the process after input or PAI processing block. The get parameter copies the corresponding field contents from the SAP memory at the end of the process before output or PBO processing block. In the ABAP dictionary, you can link an input or output field to an area of the SAP memory. When you use an input or output field defined in the ABAP dictionary, its parameter ID is displayed in the parameter ID attribute in the screen painter. Set and get parameter attributes, SPA and GPA in the table allow you to enable the set and get parameter functions separately. You can define parameter IDs in ABAP Workbench.
Dialog messages are divided into 6 categories: A, X, E, W, I, and S. The following table describes each dialog message category.
Before processing the PAI modules, the system automatically implements field input checks to check the values that a user enters. The mandatory fields check is the first check to take place and is used to ensure that all required fields are filled. The system can perform a foreign key check only if a screen field refers back to an ABAP dictionary field for which a check table is defined. The foreign key check attribute must also be set for the check to be performed. During a fixed values check, the help function is active. The system displays all possible entries from which the user can choose.
If the automatic field input checks are insufficient for your requirements, you can program your own checks in the PAI event. To do this, use the field statement with the module addition. The module you specify is processed only for the field that you specify in the field statement. If an error or warning message occurs during the processing of the module, the system throws back the same screen, but without processing the PBO module. When the message is displayed, only the field to which the check was applied is ready for input. Note, the field statement ensures that the field is ready for input. If you use a message in a module that is not called from a field statement, the system displays the message but does not make the field ready for input again.
To ensure that more than one field is ready for input following an error dialog, list the relevant fields in the field statement and include the fields and the module statement in a chain and chain block. You can include individual fields in multiple chain and chain blocks. Note, field contents changed during the current PAI processing are visible only if the field in question is also included in the field statement of the current chain block.
If the application sends an error or warning message, the current screen is displayed back to the user. But the PBO module is not processed again. Only the fields to which the module is assigned are ready for input again. After the user enters new values, the PAI module is not completely reprocessed. It is restarted somewhere within the processing block. The system identifies the field that the user has changed and resumes processing at the first corresponding field statement. If the user confirms a warning message without changing the content of the field, the system restarts the PAI processing after the message statement where the error was triggered.
The system transports data from screen fields to ABAP fields with the same name as in the PAI processing block. The system first transports all fields not contained in any field statements. Then, it transports the remaining fields when processing the relevant field statement. If an error or warning message occurs in a module belonging to a field statement, the current values of all fields in the same chain block are automatically transported back to their corresponding screen fields. Field input checks ordinarily require database access. Avoiding these checks when possible improves the performance of your program. If the user remains on a screen, he or she is usually unable to make a consistent set of entries that satisfy the input checks. Therefore, you must enable the user to leave a screen without processing the field checks. To protect users from losing entered data if they leave the screen unintentionally, the program security prompts for a confirmation to leave the screen.
When using the on-input addition in a module statement, after a field statement, the system calls a module only if the field contents have changed from their initial value. In a chain block, you use the on-chain input addition. The module is then called if the contents of at least one screen field in the chain block have changed from their initial value. You can use the on-input addition only if a field statement contains the module statement. If you use the on-request addition in a module statement, after a field statement, the module is called only if the user enters a new value in that field. In a chain block, you use the on-chain request addition. The module is then called if the user changes the contents of at least one screen field in the chain block. You can use the on-request addition only if a field statement contains the module statement.
The module with the @exit command addition is processed before the automatic field input checks, automatic data transport, and all other PAI modules. You can use the @exit command addition for navigation with one module for each screen. This module may not have an associated field statement. If you do not exit the screen from this module, the automatic field checks are processed, after which follows the rest of the PAI event.
When you specify the addition switch, the dialog module is called only if the switch you specified has the on status. You must specify the switch defined in the repository. If the specified switch does not exist, the dialog module is not called. You cannot specify the addition with the field statement. The switch that is assigned to the screen field in the screen painter applies. The main functions used to navigate between screens include the back function, cancel function, and exit function. When chosen, the back function leads one logical level backward. This function is used to lead back to the initial screen from screens on the same level, as well as to lead back to the screen that has called the current screen from screens that contain detailed information. The cancel function is similar to the back function, except that it differs in its dialog behavior. On the initial screen of a program, the back, exit, and cancel functions lead back to the screen from which the current program was called.
Both the back and exit functions exit the current transaction and return to the calling program, for example, the workplace. These functions differ in terms of their dialog behavior to prevent losing input data. The cancel function displays the screen again with initialized data fields and allows the user to select a new object.
If the user enters data on the SY data R is equal to X screen or your own flag, you can avoid accidental loss of data by using a predefined security prompt. When using the exit and cancel functions, the user receives a dialog box. For the exit function, the system checks the input on the screen. The functions in question must be function type E. For the back function, the system carries out the input check before the dialog box is executed. Note that a user may lose unsaved data, for example, when switching from change to display mode. If the user does not save new data, the system displays the original data stored in the database. The SAP system contains a series of function modules that you can use for the user dialogues.
Input help or the help function is a standard function in the SAP system that allows the user to display a list of possible entries for a screen field. The user can select a field ready for input from the list and enter a value in it. If a field has input help, the possible entries push button appears on its right. The push button is visible whenever the cursor is placed in the field. You can start the help function either by choosing the push button or by pressing F4. In addition to the possible entries push button, the input help displays additional information about the entries, especially useful when the field requires a formal key. The input help is a standard function, therefore, it must have the same appearance and behavior throughout the system. Utilities in ABAP Workbench allow you to assign standardized input help to a screen field. The precise description of the input help of a field usually arises from its semantics. Consequently, input help is defined in ABAP Dictionary.